In the category of favorites, who are your favorite professional athletes?
Well, Rocky. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I forgot the lyrics. Rocky. I love that movie. And he wasn't even a real athlete, but he portrayed that. He was great. But, I can go through athletes in motorsports. Don Perdome, Mongoose, Gartlett, Shirley. Raymond Beadle. The list goes on. Jungle Jim, one of the greatest. But then you look over in other sports. Michael Jordan, basketball. Babe Ruth. But let's jump up the guy that just retired. You know who I'm talking about. Tom Brady, one of the great ones. You know what I'm saying? And broke my heart, he retired, and then he came back.
Do you think Nitro classes will ever go back to a quarter mile?
A lot of people think we just shortened them because we wanted to. That's not the reason. It was a safety factor. We had some tracks on the circuit that just weren't long enough for the speeds of running, like Robert Height, 338 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? I ran 337 right behind him up at Sonoma. Some tracks could take it, some couldn't. NHRA, because we lost some drivers in a period of time, made a decision to go to the 1,000 foot. And it gets the job done. So I don't think we'll go back. A lot of people think we hurt our sport when we did that. And so everyone's entitled to an opinion. I just love the sport.
How many times have you raced Night Under Fire in Norwalk? Nick says he's been going for 17 years.
Well, Nick, first of all, I've been going there longer than that. I raced at the old track in Columbus, and then we moved up the Night Under Fire. We're talking about a great show. It's unbelievable. The Bader family, to them, it's not just a drag race. It's entertaining the fans. And boy, they do a great job. The best fireworks show in the world you can see there. And it's a great racetrack, but I've been going there forever. I think he signed me for another 5 years. Bader family is one of the best on the circuit.
You've been asked this before, but it's a good question. Mike says, have you ever wanted to drive a Top Fuel race car?
Mike, people don't know it. I was out at the show. Steve Gibbs put on the Revival out at Irwindale last weekend, and I was out there, me and AJ, and I saw my old Beaver Hunter. I actually drove that car. I actually crashed on a back street, about killed myself. People don't know about me in those days. I had a front engine dragster. They said it was the old Albertsons O's. I don't know if it was. It had an injected Oldsmobile in it, no blower, but I did run nitro. And those were the days. I love Top Fuel. They call it the king of the sport. But when I've got a motor that is that expensive and it's going to blow up, I want it in front of me so I can see it.
How fast are you going after the burnout when you reverse back towards your team?
Boy, I never thought about that, but not very fast, because we have to back up, and the guy out in front of the car, Fabrizi, our guy has to keep me in my tire track, backing up. So it's not very fast. Sometimes I go a little fast, and they tell me, slow it down, slow it down. My dream car, I loved them all. My original brute force car that I went to Australia in, that was me in the early days, the Big Fist, the Lightning Bolts, all of that stuff. But I loved Superman. I won that race against the dragsters, against Vandergrift. I was really lucky. It was a pedal fest in the final. But I'm an old dirt match racer, and not dirt, but match raced on tracks across the country, and I was able to win. But I love the Elvis cars. You know what I'm saying? I love Ashley's Queen of Hearts because it's my daughter, and I love it. And Courtney, driving the Taylor Swift car. I've got it in my museum. I love that car. I love Taylor Swift and the music and the stuff they did. And there's so many. I love Frankenstein. I loved, Dracula. We had all the TV shows. I did King of the Hill. We did that show, and that was on the car. I keep them all in my museum. A lot of them aren't complete cars. They're up on the roof. You know what I mean? But look at this car right here, Courtney's car. All my kids are on it over the years. And her and my daughters, and just beautiful pictures of her. So I love them. I've kept them all. I want to build a bigger museum if I live long enough. I was going to put it in Indy. I want to put it here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be honest, the pandemic slowed me down. I don't have the money to do all this stuff, but I've got every championship car. I've got every car in my early days, Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, Wiener Schnitzel, Leo Stereo, Mountain Dew, the list goes on and on. And between here and Indy, I've got probably 150 cars. That probably includes some of the street cars. Like Ford gave me a Jaguar, you know what I mean, for my 10th championship. They own Jaguar. I got a Dodge Viper. I never drove a Dodge car, but I had a Dodge Viper. They were muscle cars. And of course, I've got Corvettes, 2 brand new fastbacks upstairs, and I've got older Corvettes. My Woody, I bought a lot of cars on the year I was born. I wasn't here, but I bought them, the 49 Woody that I had, and just I got a Cadillac Brougham that I really love that I bought for my mama. She never drove it, but that was her dream car, you know what I mean? And suicide doors, stainless steel roof, awesome. Got it from Dale Armstrong, another hero of mine. Took Kenny Bernstein the first 300 mile an hour. Now the kid
Mike
Salinas drove to half track at 300 miles an hour. And Brittany ran 298, 299, but he got it.
Yeah.
He got the record. So God bless him. And my favorite car though, I grew up in a Chevrolet, and I love Ford. They were good to me. But what I'm saying is, my first car was a 54 Chevy. Okay, first car I ever owned. Okay, show you how stupid I was? It was a 4-door, and I wanted a 2-door, so I shaved all the door handles off the back. And we went out to get in the car, and my dad said, "This is the dumbest kid I got. You can't even get in the car." He shaved the door handles off because I wanted it to look like a 2-door. Shows you how stupid I am. Okay, next question.
Closer to you.
Yeah, sorry.
55, 56, 57 Chevys. Those were the cars of my era, my dream car. There's a little restaurant down here that I discovered here a few years ago, and I knew it way back. It's called Woody's. And I go in there and I eat all the time. Best breakfast, best lunch, best dinner, but I gotta tell you the truth. I found something called Moco Loco. And I found it in Vegas. I think Vegas stole it from them, or they stole it, vice versa. But what I'm saying is, it's because I like to diet and I don't like to eat bread and french fries and all that. It's rice, then it's got a hamburger patty, and then it's got 2 eggs on top of that over easy, and brown gravy. And give me that and a half a glass of wine, and I am a happy.
I think that's I think it's a Hawaiian dish.
Is it?
I can't.
It's called like you have to look it up. It is something loco because my
Makes them a
kids
campy.
Moco Loco.
My kids loved
I
that
have
when
it.
we
I'm
went
a
on our
happy
trip.
camper because I love gravy and I can't have it, but you get a little bit, you get it on a bed of
Sounds
rice, and I mean it is unbelievable. Okay, go there and tell them John Force sent you, and they'll give me a free meal and give you absolutely nothing. Say it again. Okay, next.
Dirty Doug wants to know if you miss seeing the Minnesota drinking team.
Am I?
Oh,
What'd he say?
He wants to know, do you miss seeing the Minnesota drinking team?
Dirty Doug. Dirty Doug, you're not dirty. Okay? You're one of my friends. And I do miss and I love the Minnesota drinking team. And I know all of you, and I know Mom, I know the girl. And you know who else I know there in the Minnesota drinking team? One of my favorite employees. He retired, married some beautiful girl up there in Minnesota. We love you, Louie. Minnesota drinking team. I don't want to retire, even though I know I should. I'm going to be 75 next May. And I don't know. Robert laughed at me today when I talked about retirement. He said, you wouldn't know what to do if you retired. So I can't answer that question. But I know Peak loves me, and I've got 2 years left with them. Do you know in 2 years, I will have been 50 years driving the full circuit for NHRA? But understand, I ran races for NHRA before that. I went to Australia the winter of 74 into 75 in the New Year's. But you realize that I drove before that. And I drove at Lions Drag Strip. I drove at Irwindale, Orange County Raceway, Sacramento, Portland, Seattle. I've been Ontario, Canada, Montreal, Bradenton, I've been everywhere. Chuck Etchells is the one at Lancaster, New York, but he was a great racer. And him and Al Hoffman, so many greats. Bazemore that fought me for the championships. All those years, it was unbelievable. Larson was the first guy. He was the world champ. You know, Prudhomme and those guys moved to Top Fuel. And I'd raced all of them in funny car. Prudhomme, Snake, and the Mongoose. You know, the Pepsi car, the Pepsi Challenger. And then I got my era of time and loved it. It would have to be Christmas. And we probably overdo Christmas because we love it. And my wife never wants to see it ever end. But it's pretty important. Christmas is, and they stretch it out. Sometimes I have to run off at Christmas. I can't just. It just becomes too much. But they love it, and with their grandchildren, and that's a chunk of her life that is so important. Lori, to be with their girls, to be with their grandchildren, get everybody together.